the greatest catastrophe struck the elven world. The barriers of various worlds were torn apart, the skies collided fiercely, and day and night eclipsed each other. Different species scattered across the land like seeds. The worlds of humans, monsters, and elves merged into one, focusing on the Witcher event, the elven world and civilization 1,200 years ago, exploring the origins of the first Witcher, and the reasons behind the chaotic formation of the world. In the distant elven kingdom of Crintria, the newly crowned king insisted on touring the slums. As a result, he was targeted by assassins from other nations. Fortunately, the Canine Guard, a loyal group of warriors, accompanied him for protection. Among them, the first warrior of the Canine tribe, Fjall, captivated the princess with his valor. They fell in love despite their class differences. Upon learning this, King Over intervened in time to put an end to this court scandal, because he wanted his sister to enter into a political marriage with the neighboring king, signing a peace treaty in the process. However, Princess Merwin refused to become a pawn in an arranged marriage. She joined forces with the Grand Sage Baelor to plot a rebellion. During the signing of a peace agreement among the three nations, they summoned a giant beast to assassinate her own older brother and launch a coup. Merwin became the empress of the three nations in one stroke. She believed that her golden age was about to begin. Little did she know that she was merely a pawn of Baelor, a beautiful mascot without real power, and Fjall, a canine warrior, with whom she had a secret relationship, was exiled for breaking the oath of the royal guard. He stumbled into a small village, and was thrown into a dungeon by the villagers. He happened to meet a wandering bard named Isle, who was originally a member of the Prussia Kingdom's royal guard, but later refused to continue the bloodshed, and started writing songs for the rights of commoners, although they were imprisoned together. But due to their different nationalities, they had clashed on the battlefield in the past, and almost fought in the dungeon. Fortunately, the soldiers took Fjall away first, and the canine people bribed the guards to allow Fjall to return to Crintria for a while. Fjall didn't want to go back, and would rather stay at a brothel. But then, at that moment, Fjall noticed that his necklace was missing. Al had taken it while they were distracted, and successfully used the necklace to pick the lock. She went back to retrieve her instrument that she always carried with her, but unexpectedly, her younger sister was waiting in ambush, trying to capture Isle and bring her back to serve the country. Al didn't want to leave initially, but the village's prophet girl spotted Isle and revealed a profound prediction. She said the celestial event was about to occur, and Al had to embark on a journey in the name of the tribe in order to achieve the redemption she desired. Al caught up with her younger sister, not expecting what would happen next. Several arrows flew through the air, striking her sister and killing her. Al angrily charged towards the soldiers, and Fjall drew his sword to assist. Together, they managed to take down a few soldiers. Inadvertently, he noticed on one of the corpses, there was the emblem of the Crintria army. Al uncovered the face of another body, recognizing him as the cavalry captain of Prussia's army. There were also Davin infantry daggers on the ground. Why would soldiers from all three nations ambush them together? The two immediately thought of the recent formation of the Trination Treaty. Someone must be targeting the tribal warriors. They had to go back and warn their respective tribes. In order to safely reach Crintria, they decided to travel together. When they passed through the Prussia Kingdom, they realized then that the flags in the town were no longer familiar. By gathering information from the tavern's residents, they pieced together the current situation. Merwin murdered her own brother and seized power, now ruling over 3 countries, and even committing atrocities against the Raven and Canine tribes. At that moment, a group of soldiers burst in, holding wanted posters of Fjall and Isle. They quickly slipped out of the tavern. Fjall didn't understand. How did the once kind-hearted princess turn into such a brutal ruler? In fact, after Merwin ascended the throne, crop disasters worsened. Famine-stricken people revolted. Baelor devoted all his energy into constructing the stone pillars, hoping to open the gateway to another world, to build a stronger army and expand their territory. Fjall knew about the existence of the pillars, and he knew Merwin didn't have the ability to do so. He was determined to expose the mastermind behind it all. He and Isle were the last surviving members of their tribes. They swore to avenge their people. Isle knew their power was too insignificant, so he decided to seek the help of the continent's top swordsman, Swordmaster Cyan. The other person was the last descendant of the Ghost Tribe, which was the strongest swordsman clan in the history of the continent. While many years ago, they were wiped out by the Canine tribe. At that time, the Ghost Tribe refused to serve King Derry, and as a result, the Canine tribe was unwilling to accept it, and they actually poisoned their water source. Swordmaster Cyan was the sole survivor of that catastrophe. Now, she roamed as a mercenary. Al learned her swordsmanship from her, the two encountered a group of travelers, whose wizards and elders refused to pledge allegiance to the new empire. As a result, the military razed the city to the ground and captured the young people to serve as laborers in pillar excavation. This group of people are the elderly, weak, sick, and disabled who escaped during the chaos. One of the pregnant women recognized Isle. She has also heard the minstrels sing songs for the common people, and she gained courage from them. After speaking, the girl softly sang that song. Fjall was greatly shocked upon hearing it. He had also heard this song in the far south of Crintria. People were singing it in the streets and taverns. And now, unexpectedly, he heard it in the far north. How could a song have such great power? The two traversed mountains and rivers. They ventured through uninhabited wilderness. Al suddenly stopped Fjall. She sensed that someone had set a trap ahead. Fjall expressed that he had also noticed it. After all, he wasn't new to traveling the world. But right after he finished speaking, he fell into a trap. Al stepped forward and mocked him, but then Swordmaster Cyan held her throat. The three of them rested in a tent together. Al explained the whole situation to the other party. She specifically mentioned the Ghost Tribe's sacred sword, Soul Reaver, and now it was in Crintria. Nevertheless, Swordmaster Cyan felt that, with just the few of them, attempting to break into Crintria and assassinate the Empress was simply a fool's dream. Moreover, Al also had a canine tribe member by her side. Fjall could only lie. He claimed to know a secret passage into the palace. They can secretly infiltrate. Swordmaster Cyan then realized that the plan became feasible. Yet, she didn't get along with the canine tribe member. They started arguing after a few words. Fjall was initially unwilling to accept it, but little did he know that when he and Al combined, they were no match for Swordmaster Cyan. After exchanging blows, there were no more objections. In the end, the three of them set off together to successfully enter Crintria. They needed more manpower. The fastest way was to hire mercenaries, but the three of them didn't have a single coin in their pockets. The only option was to rob a bank. Heading south was Dahlwood. There was a small bank there where they could take action. Unexpectedly, when they entered, the store manager didn't even bat an eye. It turned out that since the coup happened, this place had long been looted by the commoners and merchants. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside. Someone recognized the two wanted criminals and brought a large group of soldiers to attack. Before the three of them could grab the money, they had to fight. After a fierce battle, half of the soldiers were killed. The captain led the remaining soldiers to retreat. They blocked the bank's entrance. Then they gathered outside the door, creating smoke and trying to trap the three inside. However, when the store manager fled, he exposed the location of a tunnel, but the lock on the tunnel was made of dwarf-forged steel. Swordmaster Cyan took out a weapon also made of the same steel. Fjall took over and hacked the iron lock to pieces. They immediately crawled into the tunnel and left. Swordmaster Cyan got injured during the recent fight. Fjall and Al were somewhat worried. They decided to search for herbs to stop the bleeding in the forest. Unexpectedly, when they returned, there was an additional muscular man there. He was most likely there for a hefty bounty. The muscular man named Kereg didn't make a move. Instead, he wanted to join their group to oppose the queen. Not only that, he also recognized the poison in Swordmaster Cyan's wound. It needed immediate medical attention. Luckily, Kereg knew a highly skilled wizard. The group of four entered the swamp. He reminded everyone that the thick fog in this place had special abilities. They must remember that everything they see could be an illusion. Fjall and Al both saw painful memories from their past, the memories they least wanted to confront. Fortunately, they all broke free from the illusion and climbed ashore. Finally, two white-haired wizards appeared. Fjall saw the male wizard, and immediately recognized that he was one of Baylor's men. He was about to rush over, but was struck by the female wizard, sending him flying into the pool. The other party expressed that the immediate priority was to heal their injured friend. On the other side, inside the palace of Crintria, Merwin was ambushed by a disgruntled chef due to the famine. Fortunately, she was saved by the passing apprentice, Jane. Ignoring Baylor's opinion, she kept Jane by her side as a bodyguard. She also instructed Jane to steal the Book of Monoliths, to learn how to open the gate to another world. After saying that, Merwin put on Jane's cloak and sneaked out of the palace alone for inspection. It was then that she witnessed the miserable living conditions of the people. At that moment, Commander Ale of the army passed through the bustling market, and Merwin followed him, discovering his secret. Ale had engaged in an illicit relationship with a merchant, and Merwin immediately seized the opportunity to propose a collaboration. Merwin could allow the lowly merchant to join the council, providing a proper ending for their hidden affair. Ale's heart wavered. Merwin asked him to find a way to capture Fjall, and insisted that she must bear an heir, to eliminate any possibility of Baylor seizing power. After finishing her statement, she left the scene, and Baylor remained unaware of Ael's impending betrayal. Baylor, accompanied by his adopted daughter, and a pair of children, arrived at the stone pillar under the cover of night. Baylor opened the portal to the other world, and the group entered the space beyond the whirlpool. Suddenly, a blue ball of light appeared in the void, and Baylor immediately spoke respectfully. He brought a pair of celestial siblings as sacrifices, born on the night of the crimson moon, possessing extremely rare magical power. However, the blue ball of light stated, "I want to obtain the power of chaos. These small sacrifices alone are not enough. Baylor must surrender something valuable. Although that's the case, there's no reason to refuse the offered magic." Baylor waved his staff, and both children fell to the ground. Their magic was instantly drawn out, and converged into smoke, entering Baylor's palm. Meanwhile, Fjall brought Cyan into the room for treatment. The wizard's abilities were truly amazing. As he effortlessly healed Cyan's injuries, Fjall approached the male wizard named Max, and recognized him as someone who used to work in Crintria. Max was a researcher of the stone passage, but he differed from Baylor. After entering the mystical world of chaos, Baylor became obsessed with its terrifying power, while Max believed that there were significant issues with the passage, and wanted it closed as soon as possible. Unexpectedly, Baylor imprisoned him, and falsely claimed that Max had gone missing. Max made a great effort to escape, and he informed Fjall, "The mastermind behind everything is Baylor, and Merwin personally killed your sister." Setting aside personal grudges, the stone pillar has caused rifts between worlds. If we don't stop it soon, everything will collapse. Max stated that he had a simple solution. "Can we quickly reach Crintria? It's a half-day journey westward, where there is a massive stone pillar. They can use the pillar to forcefully cross the passage, and instantly arrive in the palace courtyard." So the group of 4 became 6, and they quickly arrived at their destination, killing the guards present. Max opened the passage through the giant stone pillar, but instead of entering the palace, they found themselves in a forest. Al looked at the unfamiliar surroundings, and noticed a strange creature in the water. Just as she was about to touch it, a massive monster emerged from the water, hissing and crawling towards the group. Everyone rushed back to the portal, with the monster closely pursuing them. Even though half of its body made it through, it quickly fell to the ground, lifeless. At that moment, the group noticed Crintria just ahead, and suddenly a dwarf appeared, signaling them to hide quickly. It turned out that Baylor's giant beasts were patrolling the skies. The dwarf led them into a cave. Relying on her trusty warhammer, the dwarf's lover was killed by the elves, so she forged his ashes into her iron hammer. Carrying the spirit of the departed, she traveled, slaying the unjust along the way. After hearing Fjall's plan, the dwarf decided to assist them. The group sat together to discuss how to deal with the colossal beast, rumored to turn people into blood mist, and wipe out an entire town in one breath. Max had a method. He could use the heart of the half-beast to merge with the essence of a human being, transforming into a creature capable of standing against Baylor. But completing the transformation carried the risk of losing oneself entirely and becoming a beast. Al still remembered the prophecy, and was willing to undergo the transformation. Although the method was dangerous, they had no choice but to try, and gather the materials needed by the wizard. Fjall didn't want Al to take the risk. After spending so much time together, he had fallen in love with her. However, her mind was made up, and no matter how much he said, it wouldn't change her decision. Fjall took this opportunity to confess that he had no knowledge of the secret passage to the palace. Cyan became extremely angry upon hearing this. She walked outside the cave, deep in thought, and took out a wanted poster. That night, Fjall and Isle, the two lovers, confided in each other, sleeping together overnight in the wilderness. Fjall took advantage of the other person's deep sleep, and took the opportunity to undergo purification. Various herbs burned in his stomach, causing Fjall to writhe in pain on the ground. After enduring a wave of inhuman torment, the process of merging with the monster's heart had just begun. Under the catalysis of an incantation, massive organs grew several fleshy tentacles. They inserted into Fjall's robust body, continuously supplying energy into his system. After undergoing intense rejection reactions, he finally completed the transformation into a beast. On the other side, Jane stole the Book of Monoliths. After studying for many days, he believed he had grasped its profound meaning. Merwin was delighted upon hearing this. The next moment, Baylor arrived and pressed Jane against the wall from a distance, forcing him onto the balcony. At a critical moment, Ael held Baylor's adopted daughter hostage, successfully rescuing Jane, and having soldiers capture Baylor. The next morning, Merwin brought Jane to the front of the stone pillar to perform a spell. but unfortunately got stuck at the first step. Jane's abilities were insufficient to open the pathway. If Merwin wanted to conquer the new world and find sustenance, she had to collaborate with Baylor. At that moment, an unexpected visitor arrived. Cyan found Merwin and told her that she knew Fjoll's whereabouts. To capture him alive, the queen had to pay 70,000 oils, returning the Ghost Clan's sacred sword, Soul Reaver, also providing 50 soldiers from the Golden Empire. Merwin immediately agreed to her demands. She then went to negotiate with Baylor, offering to release him if he swore allegiance to the queen. They shook hands and made peace, deciding to invade the other world together. In the outskirts of the forest, Cyan rode her horse back to the cave entrance, lying that she had gone out to scout, and discovered a small path leading to Crintria. Cyan saw Fjoll emerge from the cave, and immediately sensed a powerful energy fluctuation. She swiftly threw a hidden weapon to test him, but he caught it effortlessly. The power of the monster's heart indeed had a different effect. Everyone immediately followed Cyan and set off. They crossed over a hill and reached a dead end. Then suddenly, a large group of royal soldiers arrived. Cyan rode her horse to the front of the soldiers, and Isle's face changed. Could it be that Cyan had betrayed them? The enemy led the army to advance step by step, but Cyan blew the whistle, revealing all the mercenaries hidden in the shadows. They followed the command and shot arrows towards the soldiers. Cyan also began to kill the people around her. The dwarves rushed in to help. It turned out that Cyan had not betrayed everyone. She had asked the queen for these soldiers to have the mercenaries dress in their uniforms and pretend to escort Fjoll into the city openly. Merwin certainly didn't expect that the money she provided would solve their urgent needs. Now the 7-member group had the support of mercenaries, and the possibility of victory was increasing. They formulated a detailed plan. Once inside the city, Al would be responsible for breaking into the granary, inciting the people to revolt, and drawing out the palace garrison. Cyan would use Fjoll to enter the palace, and have him deal with Baylor's monster. The remaining people would go to destroy the stone pillar. Soon, the group arrived at the entrance of the city gate. At this moment, Merwin is about to fulfill her dream. She wants to open the gateway to the other world, seek sources of food, and conquer this continent. Baylor opens the passage in the stone pillar as agreed. Commander Ale leads his troops into the portal, entering a realm of chaos with dark, oppressive clouds filling the sky. Ale commands everyone to search for signs of creatures, but they have fallen into Baylor's trap. He sacrifices his beloved adopted daughter to the other world, gaining the legendary power of chaos. With a flick of his finger, Baylor causes Ale and his soldiers to be sucked into a vortex, disappearing into the other world. Baylor intends to reclaim his rightful power. On the other side, Fjoll's army has already entered the city, and Cyan takes Fjoll to meet Merwin. The queen refuses to return the Soul Reaver sword, and plans to behead Merwin with it. She cannot allow a member of the Ghost Clan to leave Crintria. Cyan is taken away by the soldiers. Merwin takes off her crown, and approaches Fjoll in a friendly manner, wanting to conquer this world together. However, the queen seems to have forgotten that Fjoll's sister and all his people were killed. How could Fjoll agree to cooperate? The man stands up, the blood on his face quickly fading. Fjoll begins to transform into a beast-like form, and swiftly breaks free from the soldiers' restraints. Merwin is escorted away by the royal guards. The next moment, Baylor's monster appears on the scene. Meanwhile, Al breaks open the granary with the mercenaries, but they are surprised to find the royal warehouse empty. The commoners become even angrier, and Al seizes the opportunity to incite them to rebellion, successfully causing a riot. Several people quickly gather at the back door, but the magically enhanced lock is difficult to open. Fortunately, Cyan provides support from the inside. The soldiers escorting them can't hold Cyan back at all, and the group disperses. One group goes to destroy the stone pillar, while another group stays behind to hold off the soldiers. Cyan and the others quickly deal with the pursuing soldiers, while two wizards search for the giant stone pillar. Al eagerly searches for Fjoll to regroup, but before finding him, she encounters Merwin, who is attempting to escape. The queen is defenseless, and Al easily injures her. Al gives Merwin a chance to choose. If she doesn't remove the knife and remains still, waiting for medical treatment, she can live to witness the overthrow of tyranny. Merwin clutches her wound, and climbs onto the throne. She puts the cold crown back on, and quietly awaits the arrival of the Grim Reaper. Before she can take her last breath, the mob has already stormed into the palace. Merwin stares at them as they draw their knives, and soon she loses her breath. On the other side, Fjoll and the monster engage in a fierce battle, gradually losing ground. He weakly falls to the ground, but the monster continues to pursue him. At a critical moment, Al shoots an arrow into the monster's eye. Her appearance gives Fjoll confidence, and triggers more power within him. Fjal's muscles swell as he smashes the stone statues on the ground. He picks up the sword from the stone figure's hand and hurls it towards the airborne giant monster, successfully killing it. Yet, due to his complete beastification, Fjall has lost his human rationality and starts indiscriminately attacking his comrades. Al approaches him while singing, briefly bringing back her beloved's consciousness. Fjall realizes he cannot revert to normal and asks Al to take action. She reluctantly stabs Fjall in the heart, ending his life. Beside the giant stone pillar, Baylor returns to reality, feeling rejuvenated and filled with energy. Max realizes that Baylor has become much stronger and must find a way to outsmart him. He plans to merge his own magic with Baylor's chaotic energy to destroy the giant stone pillar in one fell swoop. The witch needs to seize the right moment to trap the two individuals together. Holding her breath, she unleashes her magic. Several thick vines emerge from the ground, successfully binding Max and Baylor together. The two forces simultaneously rush towards the stone pillar. At the risk of self-destruction, Max extends his hand, personally shattered his greatest creation. The energy released from the shattered stone pillar will tear apart the fragile barrier separating worlds. Gateways to different worlds open, and unprecedented phenomena appear in the sky. This is the prophesied celestial convergence, and everything falls into silence. Various species are thrown into this unfamiliar land, and everything is forever changed. The surviving warriors return to their homelands, and Cyan reports to the deceased tribe members with the Soul Reaver. Kareg and the witch return to the misty forest, while Al cremates Fjall and returns to the small village where they first met. Al is pregnant with Fjal's child, a descendant of their bloodline marked by monsters and magic. Al pleads for the intervention of the prophetic little girl to learn the destiny of her unborn child. The girl places her hand on Al's belly and is immediately taken over by a strange power. She starts chanting words. The time of the spheres is upon us. Ainside lost across the skies, cast adrift in time, ever searching for love. The lark's seeds shall carry forth the first note of a song that ends all times. This baby should be the first generation witch hunter. The season ends here. It's an incredibly exciting setting, with standout costume and makeup styles, and the music of the bard is also distinctive. If you enjoy my channel, please give me a subscribe.